counties have now recognized this. The new leadership in many counties, including Kisumu, where you just mentioned, which is an exemplar, by the way, is a leadership that recognizes that they have to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and that they have to think of ways to transform their own reality. And they have to come up with ideas and projects and innovative financing to transform their own reality. If they're waiting for handouts from governments or a government or a foreign donor, they will wait another 55 years because life is not like that. It's like you and me waiting around for our relatives to come and bail us out of our lives. We have to do it ourselves. And then maybe if we succeed, somebody may say, hey, let me go and invest in that guy because he seems to be doing well. It's the same thing with counties, with governments. And so the idea here is that Turkana, we have to create the capability among the people. Training capabilities have to be there. You can have all the good policies in the world, but if there isn't capability at the local level, that's a problem. But then Kenyans can move around. Where there is excess capability, maybe around the Nairobi area, those people can shift to Turkana to help build that economy. That's what happens all over the world. You know, if you go to let's say a country I'm very familiar with, like the United States, people have not been in the same region all their lives. People move depending on where the business is. Right now, there's a fracking boom in the southwestern part of the United States. The population, most of the workers are moving there to work there because there isn't enough people in that part of the country to exploit it. So we Kenyans also have to understand that if we are one country, people should be able to move around whenever there is needs. You shouldn't say, oh, this is our county, and you guys from the other county can't come here to help exploit these opportunities. Because the moment you do that, you deny yourself the resources, the human capabilities that can come in quickly to help you transform your reality. On the contrary, why do we have Chinese fish in our economy? Because Kenyans want to eat it. That fish is not being forced down anybody's throats. People are demanding that fish as a source for protein and as a source for food. If we are not able to satisfy our market from Lake Victoria, which we are not, what's going to happen with the shortfall? So we should deny Kenyans food just because we are not able to provide enough fish from Lake Victoria? Really? There is a reason why that fish is coming into the country.
But the traders are saying
The traders are saying that because the traders themselves are being protective. They are behaving in a monopolistic fashion. Our people in Kisumu, in Turkana, along the coast, have to add value. They have to add value to their fishing practices. The guys are still using canoes. This is the 21st century. How are you going to feed a population of 50 million people based on canoe shipping, boating? Let's get serious. We need industrial capability fishing. That requires huge investments. That requires a mind shift on how we approach fishing and exploitation of our fishing, which is exactly what we want to do with this blue economy. We want to create the capability to turn Msambweni, Mombasa, Kilifi, Malindi, Lamu into huge launching pads for great fishing industrial capability into the sea. Okay? And at the same time, bring that sea back to Kenya so we can create jobs for processing that fish. The same thing in Lake Victoria. The same thing in Lake Turkana. Do you know today, less than 75% of all the fish we eat is from the sea. So 75, almost 80% of all the fish we eat in Kenya is from the lakes. And yet the sea has 1,000 times more potential. But we haven't bothered to exploit that opportunity. The reason why this conference is special is because we have insisted on predicating everything we're doing on the two pillars of conservation, pollution control, and sustainability on one side, and production, poverty alleviation, and industrialization on the other. So this is the genius of this conference. And Kenya has been getting a lot of kudos in the world because we've been able to recognize and been able to tell the world that we are hosting a conference that has to bring better balance in economic development. One development where you have everything growing. Yeah, not everybody can be rich. It's not possible. But people should not be destitute to the point where they are living in slums. You see, so you have a little bit of a balance. You see? And if you look already what has happened in this country over the last few years, people open their eyes. Nairobi is a lot cleaner than it was just 4 or 5 years ago. I have noticed that. A lot cleaner. And part of the reason is that plastic has disappeared. There's just no garbage anymore. Just walk. Walk from here. You literally have to go now to the places where the infrastructure has collapsed, where there are still attempts to revive that infrastructure, to see filth and chaos. But in the other parts of the city, things have improved remarkably. So you can imagine, since everything isn't done overnight, that if we keep up this effort, we can clean up this entire city. Because the plastics and the pollutants that leave the cities, go into our rivers when it rains, are taken to the sea to pollute the sea, to kill the coral, to undermine the fish stocks. And somehow we have to control this. And this is what the aspiration of this conference is, to make sure we take care of the conservation side, protect our coral reefs, protect our fish, protect our water sources, protect our water towers, and at the same time, try and build the economy side of it so that you and I can become more wealthy, our children can live in a wealthier country. My view on this is that once we begin to recognize the value of the blue economy and our neighbors who are enjoying great wealth to come, I mean, Tanzania especially and Mozambique have found very large gas resources. And that's going to help them transform their economy. This is a huge promise that we must maximize. And if we focus on the negatives and focus on say a little island of Mijingo, which is a dot in the lake, all right? And we become so obsessed and the media wants to spend a lot of ink of headlines on this. And then the Somali dispute. That's not what life is about. You see? What life is about is the huge other potential. So we can spend all our time fighting over Mijingo if you want. I mean, you're welcome to it. But you'd have to be stupid to do so. Because at the end of the day, even though it is our land, and even though we are going to do everything we can to protect our ownership of it, it isn't what the major priority is for Lake Victoria or for the blue economy. You see, we don't want the tail to wag the dog, the dog must wag the tail.